All right, people. We are going to take just a little bit of notes today. We are continuing to look at what do you need, honey? Oh. All right, so this is where we ended up on Tuesday with our inventions from our Sumerians and what our Sumerians did and how our Sumerians, you got one, Drew? Thank you. All right, so today we're going to move, let's close up our Chromebooks and get ready. And now we're going to move over to our next group of people, the Akkadians. So when we think about these groups of people, these are people that are coming to conquer Samaria. Conflicts are going to rise over land and water. And hopefully that makes sense. Water should obviously make sense, right? We're in a desert. So anytime there's water, these groups of people are going to try and take as much water as they can. Land is always something that invading conquerors want to obtain. And because Mesopotamia is flat and it's a desert, there's no boundaries, it's really easy to invade. So Mesopotamia, located on flat land, Sumerian cities often are invaded. And one of the first groups to attack and conquer Mesopotamia are the Akkadians. And our first leader of the Akkadians, Sargon, conquered the city-states and set up the world's first empire. That's a test question because we think about anytime we talk about something's a first. So also we need to make sure that we understand what an empire means. An empire is different than a kingdom. Hello? Yes, I do. Okay, thanks. Gretchen, you're got the golden ticket. We'll see you tomorrow, sweetie. And if you want to stay caught up, Gretchen, this whole lecture will be posted on Canvas if you want to listen to it, or you can just catch up tomorrow, okay? All right, so the difference between a kingdom and an empire. If I'm the king of France, everybody in my kingdom is French. That's a kingdom. That means, bye, Gretchen. That means everybody in my kingdom is identical, same as me. If I am the leader of an empire, that means I have lots of different people under my empire. Napoleon was an emperor. He had France, he had the Italian city-states, he had parts of Spain. So as an empire, the difficulty is I have lots of different people that speak lots of different languages, that have lots of different customs that I have to please. It is much more difficult to be an emperor than it is to be a king. If I'm the king of everybody alike. So to set up an empire is really difficult. I have to be a very good leader. I have to be a very strong leader, and I have to please a lot of different people. So that's why when we use that word empire, it's really important to understand how difficult it is to lead an empire and the significance that this is the first empire under Sargon. All right, questions about any of that? The only reason that slide is up there at all, because that's the only slide about the Akkadians, is because they set up the first empire. That's the only reason you need to know these. So our next person that we're going to meet is this really important person called Hammurabi. And he is from Babylon. So again, my people that attend places of worship regularly, you have probably heard this word Babylon or stories about Babylon. It is a real place. It is an important place because of this guy, Hammurabi. And he's going to establish a new empire over both the Akkad and Sumer. So his empire gets even bigger. He's going to reign until his death in 1750 BCE. It is a very strong and powerful kingdom. And because of that, he is able to set up our first codified laws. And codified means written down. That's a vocab word you need to know. He is going to write down the first set of laws. Does your bell question today ask you why it's important to write down laws? Okay. So hopefully you got lots of good answers. One of your answers should be something alike so everybody knows what the laws are. For me, if I'm the leader, if I'm Hammurabi, I want you guys to know what the laws are so you know what's going to happen to you if you break them. If you, as people that live in Babylon, you need to know what the laws are so they don't change, right? So that if you are doing something and you break a law, you're well aware that you're breaking a law. But if things aren't written down, people can change those laws midstream. So Hammurabi not only writes them down, but he writes them on this big, gigantic piece of black stone. And it's displayed prominently in the city of Babylon. Everybody can see it. Everyone can read it. Everybody knows what those laws say. And for the most part, they're what we call punitive laws. That means you break a law, something bad is going to happen to you. Punitive means a punishment. So, and most of these punishments don't deal with like a law enforcement making the punishment. It deals with the person that has the crime done upon them. So it is one of the world's most important early systems of law. It is strict justice and harsh punishments. And most all of these punishments are retaliation, not like let's help a burglar become a law-abiding citizen. Let's kill a burglar so he never steals from you again. That kind of stuff. Punishments varied according to social status. A crime committed against a noble person brought a harsher punishment than a crime committed against a commoner. And this code has all types of laws: consumer protection, laws regarding marriage and family, laws about wages, all different types of these rules and laws. So that's what we're going to look at today. Just sit tight because I'm going to show you this assignment. And first and foremost, again, I have to remind you that we would have done this with a partner. Oh, now my screen is all weird. We would have done this with a partner, but now because of certain conditions, we cannot do that. So I'm going to open up, I'm doing this without my glasses, our assignment for today. And you can see our assignment for Thursday is Hammurabi's Code. And it is due tomorrow. We'll have time to work on this. So the worksheet is in Google Docs, so you can just open that, and I will open that worksheet so you can see what that looks like and read you the directions. You're going to be assigned 5 of Hammurabi's laws from the worksheet. And you're going to answer the following questions about your laws. You first make sure you put the number down so that I know which number you have. Who is involved? What are they told to do or not to do? What are the stated consequences of complying or not complying with that law? So that's what you'll do first. And then when you're finished with that, you're going to compare 3 of those laws with laws today. So pick whichever one you want, rewrite it, and is it similar to a law today? How is it different? And then rewrite it in your own words. So that's the worksheet that you're going to do. To get the information, we're going to look at a selection from the Code of Hammurabi. Oh, I forgot I got to download this. And hopefully you guys can open it. I don't know what it's going to look like. All right, so a selection from the Code of Hammurabi. And I so enjoy reading these out loud because they are horrible laws. So I'm going to, let's find one that's really, let me find the one I like. Where is it at? If number 17, if a son strike his father, his hands shall be hewn off. You hit your dad, gonna cut off your hands. Nice. Number 16 also tells you the place of women in this place. If the finger is pointed at a man's wife about another man, so that's an accusation. So If I say a man's wife has slept with another man, but she is not caught sleeping with another man, she still has to jump in the river. She hasn't done anything, but she still has to jump in the river. Where's my other favorite one? If he, and that would be a doctor, perform a serious operation on an ass or an ox and kill it, he shall pay the owner 1/4 of its value. That's again for vets. If a veterinarian surgeon perform a serious operation on an ass or ox and cure it, then the owner shall pay the surgeon. I would actually kind of like that because I pay our vet a lot of stuff. Sometimes they fix it, sometimes they don't. Now, thankfully, they've never killed one of my animals, but that, again, is an important one. And where's my other favorite one? If the builder build a house for someone and does not construct it properly, and the house which he built fall in and kill its owner, then the builder shall be put to death as well. That's what we mean by punitive. If a man wish to put his son out of the house and declare before the judge, I want to put my son out, and then the judge shall examine into his reasons. If the son be guilty of no great fault for which he cannot be rightfully put out, the father cannot put him out. That's a pretty good one. All right, so I am going to give each one of you, instead of your group, 5 of these to do. And again, with the point of looking at the first is just very simply, what is this law saying in words that make sense to you? When they use the word shackle, it's not like handcuffs. A shackle is a name for money. They either will call it a shackle or a ducat. That's money. That's coins. Okay? All right. Let me put my mask on. Anybody have questions about that? So we'll work on this today and tomorrow in class. You have the rest of the class period today and then all of the class period on Friday to get those done. And after I walk around, please make sure you get your mind